MashaAllah. Let's continue. The author says, may Allah have mercy upon him. We're still in the sins of the body. Yani, it's the last chapter of the sins of the body, but it's the biggest one. And then after that is repentance. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, وقطع نفل الحج والعمرة, interrupting a voluntary Hajj or Umrah. Hajj is uh, a mission to the sacred house. Qastul Bayt, a mission to the sacred house to do the worships that are done there, and Umrah is a visit to the sacred house to do the worships that are there, that are done there. الشرح, the explanation, أن من معاصي البدن التي هي من الكبائر, is that amongst the body sins, the sins of the body, that's amongst the major sins, not a small sin. قطع نفل الحج والعمرة, it is interrupting the voluntary Hajj and Umrah. وذلك لأنه بالشروع فيه يصير واجبا, and that's because by commencing it, it becomes obligatory. It becomes a duty. فَيَجِبُ إِتْمَامُهُ, so it would be a duty to complete it. And that's in the saying of Allah Ta'ala, وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Finish the Hajj and the Umrah. Atimmu. Finish the Hajj and the Umrah for the sake of Allah. So you can't interrupt it. And Ash-Shafi'i uses this as evidence to say that the Umrah itself is obligatory to start. So according to Ash-Shafi'i, Umrah is obligatory and Hajj is obligatory. According to others, only the Hajj and the Umrah is Sunnah. I'm not talking about a voluntary Hajj or a voluntary Umrah. There's obligatory Hajj according to Ash-Shafi'i, and there's obligatory Umrah according to Ash-Shafi'i, and no obligatory Umrah according to others. But that's not what the author's talking about here. He's talking about an optional Hajj and an optional Umrah. If we want to go according to a Shafi'i school, then we are saying that you've already done the Hajj and the Umrah. And now you're doing them again, so it's optional, not obligatory. But you must complete it if you start it. لأنه كفرضه نية وكفارة وغيرهما. And that's because the voluntary, so the common word for both of those is nusuk. Nusuk. Nusuk is Hajj or Umrah. Yes. Nusuk. Yes. So this is because the voluntary nusuk is like the obligatory nusuk. How so? In the intention, in the expiation, and in other matters. So you have to complete it. ويتصور التطوع في الحج في الأرقاء والصبيان. Hajj, a voluntary Hajj is conceivable concerning slaves and children, prepubescent children. ونص الغزالي وغيره من الشافعية على عدم وجوب إتمام فرض الكفاية. And Al-Ghazali and other Shafi'is have documented the lack of obligation, the lack of a duty to complete a communal obligation. كما لا يجب ابتداؤه عينا. Just like it's not obligatory to even start it on an individual level. Meaning, if you have an optional deed, an optional worship, an optional prayer, an optional fasting, and this is Shafi'i school, you can interrupt it in the middle of it. If you were praying a sunnah prayer, you can just break it in the middle of it without reaching the salam. And if you were doing a sunnah fast, you can just break it and eat in the middle of it. And there's a hadith about the fasting. uh, الصائم المتطوع أمير نفسه. The the one who is fasting voluntarily is in charge of his own self. Meaning, as the hadith says, if he wants, he can complete his fast, and if he wants, he can break his fast. So the Shaykh is saying Al Ghazali and other Shafi'is, they documented that it's not obligatory to finish a communal obligation. So we have three things here. We have one, a personal obligation. Two, communal obligation. And three, a voluntary deed. So, personal obligation, you cannot interrupt it. You must complete it. A voluntary worship, like prayer or fasting, you can interrupt it, but not the nusuk. Voluntary nusuk becomes obligatory by starting it. By commencing it, becomes obligatory to finish it. And what the Sheikh is saying now is that Al Ghazali and other Shafi'is, so the voluntary one, you can interrupt it. And Al Ghazali and other Shafi'is said the communal obligation, you're not obligated to finish it. So that makes a communal obligation like a voluntary deed. And they said, just like when it comes to a communal obligation, you're not even obligated to start it on an individual level. On an individual level. I'll remind you too. If you want to test a person's comprehension, you ask him, is Jumu'ah a communal obligation or a personal obligation? He will tell me the answer. Is Jumu'ah a communal obligation or personal obligation? 5, 4.
It's a personal obligation upon the one who fulfills the conditions.
Correct. Personal obligation. So you want to test a person's comprehension. He says, nah, I studied the obligatory knowledge. I finished the obligatory knowledge. That's all you want to go over is the obligatory knowledge. Tell him, all right, let me ask you a couple questions. Here's one of my questions. Jumu'ah is a personal obligation or a communal obligation. If he's not strong or firm or understood the case, say it's a communal obligation because he doesn't know how to define communal obligation. It's a personal obligation on the men who are not excused. How it's not a communal obligation? Because communal obligation means if some people do it, the rest are excused. And that's not the case for Jumu'ah. If some men do it, the others are not excused. The others have to go too. If some men go to Jumu'ah, then the other men have to go too. So it's a personal obligation. طيب. So the Sheikh says, Al Ghazali and other Shafi'is have documented the lack of it being a duty to complete a communal obligation, just as it's not obligatory to even start it on an individual. وَذَلِكَ كَالْعِلْمِ الشَّرْعِيِّ غَيْرِ الْعَيْنِيِّ. That's like the religious knowledge that's not personal obligatory knowledge. فإن طالبه إذا شرع فيه لا يجب عليه أن يدوم فيه. For indeed, its student or its seeker, if he started it, it's not obligatory on him to continue. وإن أنس من نفسه النجابة إلى أن يصل إلى مرتبة الفتوى. Even if a person feels about himself that he will be successful, he will successfully reach the level of giving fatwa. Yani, even if this student of knowledge believes about himself or knows about himself or feels that he can become a scholar, he's not obligated to continue. What's communal obligation? وأما صلاة الجنازة والجهاد وكذلك دفن الميت وتكفينه وحمله وغسله فيجب إتمامها بالشروع فيها. But as for the funeral prayer and the jihad, the one that's a communal obligation. When is jihad a communal obligation? Tell me, please. Five, four, three.
Sheikh, is it when there's a Khalifa who calls for it?
Uh, well, I won't say that's the wrong answer, but there would be a Khalifa. And when the Muslims are strong, then it's a communal obligation to send out at least one army per year to invite the kuffar to Islam. He says, and likewise, burying the dead and shrouding him and yani carrying him, transporting him, wa ghasluhu, and washing him. It's obligatory to complete these by starting them. So add to that the nusuk, that's seven. Here we have seven things that are communal obligation. Sorry, we're talking about communal obligation here. Sorry. About to mix that up there. Communal obligations that are obligatory to finish if you start them. فيجب إتمامها بالشروع فيها لئلا تهتك حرمة الميت. So not to violate the honor of the dead Muslim. وتكسر قلوب المسلمين, and then to break the hearts of the Muslims. Yani. So this means it can't be said, this is only communal obligation. I don't want to finish bathing this guy or wrapping him up, shrouding him, or burying him. Somebody else can come and bury him, or something like this. It needs to be completed. وقال بعض الشافعية يحرم قطع فرض الكفاية مطلقا. And some Shafi'is said it is forbidden to interrupt the communal obligation absolutely, كالعيني, like a personal obligation. ولو قلنا بجواز قطع العلم الكفائي, even if we say, yani despite that we say that it's permissible to interrupt or to stop acquiring communally obligatory knowledge. Intaha, end quote. Yani, that's what some Shafi'is said. لكن القول المعتمد أنه يجوز قطع فرض الكفاية بعد الدخول فيه. However, what is reliable is that it is permissible to interrupt a communal obligation after commencing with it, after starting it. إلا الجهاد والحج, except for the jihad and the hajj. والجهاد إلا الجهاد والحج ونحوهما, and the likes of those. How's Hajj a communal obligation? Uh, let's see what the Sheikh has to say here. لأن الجهاد حتى في الحال التي يكون فيها فرض كفاية, because the jihad, even in the case when it is a communal obligation, فإن كان بعد التقاء الزحفين, if it is after the two armies meet الجيشين, ليس له أن يرجع, one does not have the right to retreat. لأنه إن رجع تنكسر قلوب المسلمين, because if he retreats then he will break the morale of the Muslims. So they say will break the hearts of the Muslims. So I'm going to say the morale. or the context of the fighting and being yani ready to fight, hype and excited, etc., and heated. لرجوعه وتضعف هممهم. This one's even closer to, and it weakens their ambition. Yani breaks their morale. فليس, as if those mean the same thing. والله أعلم. فليس له أن يرجع إلا أن مرض مرضا يمنع وجوب الجهاد عليه. And so one does not have the right to retreat uh, unless he becomes sick in a way that prevents the duty of jihad being upon him, prevents jihad being a duty upon him. Oh, Amiya, or he went blind. Oh, I think that's Arija with the kasra on the ra. We can double check that. Or he developed a limp. فإنه يجوز له, or he has a limp. So we can ask this one here. Yani, Amiya or Arija, this means if we were to suppose that a blind man or a lame man, someone who has a limp, a severe one, was already like that and he went to war, and then once he got there, he decided to use his blindness or his lameness as an excuse to leave. He can? Is that included here? Or is the Sheikh saying here, he went blind and he became lame, and so now he's allowed to leave? We'll ask inshallah. فإنه يجوز له أن يرجع على المشهور من المذهب. Indeed, it is permissible for him to retreat according to what is famous in the school. لأنه لا يمكنه الجهاد مع المرض والعمى والعرج. Because he's not able to perform the jihad while sick or blind or lame. That's in the Quran. The sick and the blind and the lame are named in the Quran.